Maybe it's the romantic in me that just loves schmaltzy bullcrap, but I love Valentine's Day. No, not the disgusting chalky candies, the obligatory cards you'd hand out as kids, or the cookie-cutter gestures that grocery stores and Hallmark peddle every year. No, I love the idea behind Valentine's Day. And I love the idea of doing your own personal gesture, your own fun or thoughtful way of telling someone how important they are to you. And even more than that, I love the adorably awkward and sometimes even cringe-inducing exchanges that it gives us through anime. Valentine's Day, for any who may not be aware, is slightly different in Japan, at least compared to the States. There, traditionally it's women who are giving chocolates to the men, who then return the favor a month later on White Day. The chocolates can range from, and I apologize in advance for pronunciation, gili choco, which literally translates to obligation chocolate, meant for family and platonic friends, and honmei choco, meant for loved ones. The latter tend to be either the more expensive ones or the ones that you make yourself. And for this Valentine's Day, that's what I'll be walking you through. The process of making your own chocolate for your IRL best boy or husbando. Or any gender. We're not in Japan, we don't have to play by their rules. And on top of that, since making the chocolate is pretty simple, I'll also include how to make 3 different fillings that you can use to spice things up a bit as well. On screen, I have a list of the ingredients that you will need, as well as timestamps for each part, so you can pick and choose which parts you would like to do. Also, be sure to get some chocolate or candy molds to use as well. If you're planning on filling any of the chocolates with anything, you may want to also consider some slightly deeper molds. Though I will say that I was surprised at how well I could get the filling to work with some of what I thought were fairly shallow molds. Okay, so to be fair, we're not really making our own chocolate, we're just reshaping existing chocolate. But that's what they do in anime, so that's what we're doing here. I chose to use dark chocolate because that's my own personal favorite, but you can use whatever you or your recipient is going to like best. Following the sage advice of Andrew from my chocolate cornet recipe, we're going to set up a double boiler. So, fill a pot a small ways with water, and then simply find a safe bowl that will fit on top of said pot. The water should not be able to reach the bowl, and set that to a low to medium-low heat. Alright, so before you add your chocolate, be sure to add in your 1 cup of love. If anyone understands that joke, you're my hero. Crumble up your chocolate and place it in the bowl. Now, we play the waiting game, occasionally stirring just to get it all melted a bit faster and evenly. Once it's all melted and the chunks are gone, you're going to start placing it into your molds. Depending on the type of mold, I recommend using a brush so that you can ensure that all parts of the mold are covered by chocolate, like these little ridges on the cups for me. You just want enough in there to coat the sides, so don't go too overboard. Once they're all coated, flip them over onto a rack to let any excess chocolate drip out for a couple minutes. Once that's done, shove them in the freezer for about 15 minutes. If you have more molds, you can use this time to get those done as well. After about 15 minutes have passed, pull them back out and repeat this process. After you put them in the freezer this time, this would be the ideal time to start working on your fillings. So you can just leave them in there until you're done, or pull them out after 15 minutes and skip to the end of the video if you're not doing any fillings. Shout out to my mom for this peanut butter recipe. I got it from her and I absolutely love it. First, go ahead and melt your 1/2 cup of butter. Then measure out your 1 cup of graham cracker crumbs. The finer you can get these crumbs to be, the better the end results. So if you can, throw those into a blender or a food processor and just try to chop them up as best as you can. Now add your 1 cup of powdered sugar, your 1/2 cup of peanut butter, making sure to take a little bit for yourself, and your 1/2 cup of melted butter. Stir that all up until it's nice and mixed, and then toss it in the fridge to harden. With that done, you can keep watching to see how to make the chocolate cream filling next, or just skip to one of the timestamps below. Alright, so I did directly take this recipe from a site that I found online, so if you want to see the source, I'll have it linked in the description. As with the base chocolates, you can feel free to use any kind of chocolate you want for this. I personally went with milk chocolate. After you measure out your 2.5 ounces of chocolate... Hey! Can you not? Break it up, and then measure out your 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar as well. In a small pot, measure out your 3.5 tablespoons of heavy cream. Yeah, I could have used a smaller pot here, but it was dirty, and if you think I should have just cleaned it, then why don't you frickin' come and make me? Set that to medium heat. Once the cream is hot, but not bubbling, add in your chocolate and sugar. Keep stirring it until it's become a nice, consistent liquid. Pour it out, and then keep watching to make a caramel filling, or jump to the timestamp for the end. You know those little individually wrapped caramel candies? Well, you're gonna need a lot of them. I got mine from a local candy store, but I'm also pretty sure you can just buy an 11-ounce bag of them. Anyway, get to unwrapping, because you're gonna need 5.5 ounces, which is a lot. Once all the caramel is unwrapped, add in your 1 tablespoon of water. Throw this onto the stove at medium-low heat, and keep stirring until it's fully melted into a sauce. Do not let it alone for too long, we do not want this to burn. And buckle up, because you're going to be here for a while. Once you're done, you're ready for the final steps. Take your chocolates out of the freezer. Whether it be rolling up peanut butter, pouring in the chocolate cream, or scooping in the caramel, add any fillings you may have. Try to leave room on the sides and top for the final bits of chocolate though. And if you're doing caramel, don't be like me and wait too long, because the caramel will harden fast, so it'll be easier while it's still runny. Once your fillings are in, take your brush from earlier and fill in all the gaps and cover the filling with more chocolate. Don't worry about being too neat. If there's excess that spills off the side, that's easy enough to break off after it's all hardened. Once those are all filled, toss them in the fridge or freezer until they've had plenty of time to harden. I let mine sit in the freezer for about a half hour, but more time in either location will not be a bad thing. Just be patient above all else. Once they've had time to harden, then pop them out of the mold, brush away any excess chocolate, and you're all done. Peanut butter is objectively the best filling, do not at me. And with that, you're ready to bag or box these up and hand them to your special someone. Speaking of which, I have an announcement. All the support and sharing and generosity that everyone has been showing to me has truly been appreciated, and it's helping my channel turn to something that I didn't think it had a shot at. So in return, I'm going to be holding a small raffle for all of my Patreon subscribers. On Valentine's Day, I will be doing a raffle where anyone who is currently a patron of mine at any tier will be entered. Whoever's name I pull out, which I will put on video and post, I will make another batch of chocolates for, and then I'll get in touch with them to ship it out. A mask and gloves will be worn at all times in a fully cleaned kitchen, but if the winner still does not feel comfortable with that, we can do store-bought chocolate as well. As I said, I will do the drawing on Valentine's Day, so as long as you've joined by then, you'll be entered to win as well. And with that, a big thank you to Sam Hall, as well as my other Patreon supporters. If you liked the video, please leave a like, sub, all that jazz. Since I brought it up, here's the link to my chocolate cornet recipe as well. Until next time, I'm CJ Pecor, the Angry Avocado, and I still don't have a sign-off.